What do you do when your dying father wants to visit your sibling's grave and the headstone has the wrong name on it? The hospice nurse called on a Tuesday and said my father was asking for me. I hadn't spoken to him in 6 years, not since I told him my younger brother was dead. The lie had been simple, designed to protect my brother from the man who made his childhood a nightmare. My brother got to start over in another state with a new name. I almost didn't go, but I got in the car anyway. When I walked into his room, he looked so much smaller than I remembered, his body wasted away by cancer. He squinted toward the door. "Is that you?" he asked. I sat down and told him, yeah, it was me. He stared in my direction for a long moment. "I want to go to Ryan's grave," he said quietly. "I need to tell him I'm sorry for the kind of father I was." I felt my throat get tight. "You don't need to do that," I said. He shook his head. "I do. I was terrible to him and I know that now. I just need to say it one time before I go." He reached for the water glass on the table next to him and his hand swept right past it, grasping at nothing about 6 inches to the left. I grabbed the glass and put it in his hand. He took a drink without even noticing he'd missed it. When I left 20 minutes later, I sat in my car in the parking lot staring at the steering wheel, trying to figure out what the hell I was supposed to do. I called my brother that night and he sounded genuinely happy talking about his new life. He had no idea our father was dying and I realized I couldn't drag him back into that darkness. After we hung up, I decided I'd give my father what he wanted without destroying my brother's peace. I spent the next 3 days trying to create a fake grave to take him to, and everything that could go wrong went wrong. The first 2 cemeteries refused to sell me a plot without a death certificate. The third one had a director who took cash and didn't ask questions, but the only spot available was part of a family plot, and I took it out of desperation. I ordered a headstone online, paid extra for rush delivery, then spent 2 days calling them back because they kept sending the wrong design specs. When the stone finally arrived Friday afternoon, I paid the cemetery director extra to install it right away. He said he'd age it and add flowers to make it look like it had been there for years. My father had insisted on going Saturday morning, which meant I wouldn't have time to check the work. I had no choice except to trust him. I picked up my father the next morning, and we drove to the cemetery in silence. When we got there, I helped him out and supported most of his weight as we walked toward the plot. My heart was pounding as we came around the corner past this big oak tree, and I saw the headstone. My stomach dropped. The name on the stone was completely wrong. It said Brian instead of Ryan. I had no idea if his failing eyesight would catch it, or if his fingers would feel that something wasn't right. We got closer, and I positioned myself in front of him, trying to block his view. He leaned heavily on my arm and stared down at the grave. I watched his eyes move across the headstone. I prepared myself for him to get angry, to demand answers, for everything to fall apart. Then he closed his eyes and sighed. "I know you can't forgive me," he whispered to the headstone. "I know I don't deserve it, but I'm sorry. God, I'm so sorry for every time I made you afraid of me." Tears started running down his face. He just stood there crying, and I breathed a sigh of relief because he couldn't make out the name at all. We'd been standing there for a few minutes when I heard footsteps behind us. An older woman walked over carrying flowers. "I'm so sorry for your loss," she said softly. "Losing Brian so young." Every muscle in my body went rigid. My father's head turned toward her. "Brian?" he said. I stepped forward fast and started shaking my head at the woman. "His name was Ryan," my father said behind me, and I could hear him turning back toward the headstone. The woman looked down at the stone. "But it says," she started. I was waving my hands at her now, silently begging her to stop. She caught my desperate expression. "Oh, I must have misread it," she said quickly. "I'm very sorry." She backed away and hurried off. My father was completely still, staring at the headstone with his hand hovering just above the letters. "Ryan," he said quietly. Then his fingers touched the stone again and started tracing slowly across the name. I couldn't breathe. This was it. He was going to feel that the letters spelled something different and realize I'd been lying to him for 6 years. His hand moved across the entire name while I stood there frozen. Then he pulled his hand back and closed his eyes. "My boy," he said, and his voice cracked. He started crying again, and my heart thumped in my chest as I was unable to relax until we were in the car on the way back to hospice. He died 3 days later.